I came for my 15th birthday without knowing my parents. It was due to family issues that had nothing to do with me. They lived on a different continent than I lived with my relatives. It was a fascinating journey for me and the beginning of one of the long horror stories. Visiting the grandparents, I didn't feel safe at home. But when I stood in front of them, everything lit up and I hugged them, and they in turn grabbed me very tenderly. All doubts were cleared and the day passed happily. The brothers put us in the same messy room. Since my roommate was in a bad mood, I decided to leave the room and go for a walk. Under the stairs I found my mother's mother, who had left a plate of cake and a glass of milky drink. Not wanting to look at it, I quietly went back to bed. To my surprise, the room was spotlessly clean, even fitting the mess my sister had made with the contents of her suitcase. Thinking that my sister had done the chores and would be angry if I made a mistake, I decided to sleep in the living room. I was fast asleep when I was woken up by a loud noise from the back door. Someone tried to open the door, I swear. When I looked, all I saw was a person running until they disappeared into the trees. I felt him looking at me, and when I turned around I was surprised to see a little old man by the fireplace. His whole body was covered with hair except for every eye and nostril. It had several small horns and a tail that it tried to hide between its paws. Cute horror stories with long characters. I rushed out to hide, made a fuss out of fear, and woke up everyone who was sleeping. When I got a call about this scandal, I was embarrassed because they laughed at what I saw and just said someone had tried to break into the house. After I said that, my grandfather just said to me, "Keep calm. There is a guard in this house who is watching over it and will not allow anything to happen." It didn't calm me down, it scared me more. I also thought about what to do. I couldn't sleep well anymore. I didn't know if I should watch who came in or hide under the covers. I heard the tiniest rustle at the window and my soul stopped beating as I saw a small handful of hair closing the window, trying not to make any noise. The owner of the hand crept across the room and reached my younger sister's bedside table, after which she changed her figure and became my grandmother. He hugged my relative tightly. I was afraid that I would pass out. When I recovered, I combed my hair and Grandma comforted us by saying that all the anxiety was caused by Domovoi, the Russian elf who takes care of the houses. This goblin straightens the hair of those he likes and pushes away those he doesn't like. He scared my sister because he bored her with his disorganization, because she liked order and cleanliness. He told us that he protects the house and its inhabitants. There's a sandwich and a drink for him under the stairs. Sometimes he told us that in this long horror story, a child heard crying, that is, a descendant of Domovoi. If you cover the place where the crying is heard, the baby's mother will answer the question. Provided you release the baby from her, you have to leave them alone because you can't see them, but they are still there. If they interfere, you should invite him to dinner with the residents of the house. A place at the table was prepared for her, covered with bread and covered with a white cloth. You can also pay tribute to him by hanging old shoes in front of your house. In long horror movies like this, good things happen when you hear laughter and bad things happen when you're bored. If you move in one and to go to a new home, you must put him in a chicken coop, expose him to a rat, and keep him for 9 days. On the 10th day, Domovoi will appear in your new home. Once it arrives, hang your old shoes and a piece of bread under the stove. When I had to go home, my grandmother told me to take Domovoi. I performed the entire ritual before leaving. When I got home, I slipped on a shoe, covered the mirrors, and turned down the bed, her presence being felt immediately. Everything started to look much neater and cleaner. And from then on I had the most peaceful and restful dreams I could have ever dreamed of. In the end it didn't feel like one of those long horror stories that scared me.